You stand in front of the bathroom mirror first thing in the morning, and that stubborn ring of fat around your midsection is still sitting there. You fasted all night. You got a full night of sleep. Your body had every opportunity to tap into those fat reserves. But here is the uncomfortable truth. Within the first 45 minutes of being awake, your own biology may already be locking that fat down tighter than a vault. And the reason comes down to something most people have never heard of: the cortisol awakening response. Every single morning, your stress hormone surges to the highest concentration it will reach all day. This is not a malfunction. This is by design. It is your body's way of booting up the operating system. When you handle this surge properly, it becomes rocket fuel. It mobilizes energy, sharpens your focus, and opens the door for fat oxidation throughout the entire day. But when you do what almost everyone does, when you grab the phone off the nightstand, pour a cup of coffee before your feet even hit the floor, and immediately start reacting to the world, you hijack that natural surge and convert it into a distress signal. Your body interprets this as danger, and when the body perceives danger, it does not burn fat. It hoards it, especially around the organs, especially around the belly. Today, we are going to rebuild your first 90 minutes from the ground up. This is not a motivational morning routine. There is no gratitude journaling here. What we're building is a physiological sequence designed to bring cortisol down to baseline and convince your nervous system that it is safe to release stored energy. We are going to cover the adrenal hydration trick, the science behind delaying your caffeine, how sunlight reprograms your internal clock, and why a simple walk does more for belly fat than a brutal gym session at 6 in the morning. We do not chase trends or sell you willpower fantasies. We decode how your body actually works so you can use the system instead of fighting it. Now, to understand why the morning window matters so much for visceral fat specifically, you need to understand one critical enzyme. It is called lipoprotein lipase, or LPL. Think of LPL as a gatekeeper. Its job is to pull circulating energy out of your blood and push it into fat cells for storage. When LPL activity is high, your body is in storage mode. When it is low, your body shifts toward burning. Here is the key. The fat cells wrapped around your organs, the visceral fat, carry roughly 4 times as many cortisol receptors as the fat under your skin. That means your belly fat is essentially wearing a giant antenna tuned directly to stress signals. When cortisol rises, those receptors light up, LPL activates, and the body starts funneling energy straight into the midsection. In the morning, your system is already in a fragile state. You are dehydrated from hours of breathing and sweating in your sleep. Your blood is thicker. Your brain is still flushing out cellular debris from the night. If you pile stress on top of that vulnerability, you set the metabolic tone for the entire day. Even a clean lunch, a grilled chicken salad, a bowl of vegetables, your body will be more inclined to store it rather than use it because of the hormonal environment you created at 7 in the morning. So let us fix it, step by step. The first signal you need to send your body is a hydration signal. I call this the adrenal reset drink. Most people reach for coffee the moment they open their eyes. This is one of the worst things you can do on an empty, dehydrated system. You have not had a drop of water in roughly 8 hours. During the night, you lose close to a liter of fluid just through respiration. That means your blood volume is low, your blood is thick, and your cardiovascular system is straining just to circulate it. That physical strain alone elevates cortisol before you even think about the day ahead. On top of that, your adrenal glands, those 2 small organs perched on top of your kidneys, need specific minerals to regulate cortisol output smoothly. Sodium and potassium are the main players. When sodium drops too low, your body compensates by releasing aldosterone and adrenaline to maintain blood pressure. This adds more stress chemistry to an already loaded system. The fix is beautifully simple. Before anything else touches your lips, drink a tall glass of water at room temperature. Add a small pinch of quality sea salt or Himalayan salt. If you want, squeeze in some fresh lemon for the potassium and a gentle nudge to your liver. This combination rehydrates the blood, delivers minerals to the adrenals, and sends an immediate signal to the body that resources are available. When the body senses abundance, it relaxes the grip on stored fat. The second signal is a light signal, and this one resets your entire internal clock. Deep inside your brain sits a tiny cluster of cells called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. This is your master circadian pacemaker. It determines when cortisol goes up, when melatonin goes up, when you feel alert, and when you feel sleepy. The only input powerful enough to calibrate this clock is light, but not just any light. The light from your phone screen or your kitchen ceiling registers at around 500 lux. That is a weak, confusing signal. It is bright enough to create a subtle stress response, but nowhere near strong enough to properly trigger the wake-up cascade. Natural outdoor light, even on an overcast morning, delivers over 10,000 lux across a full color spectrum your brain evolved to recognize. Within the first 30 minutes of waking, step outside. No sunglasses. Let the photons hit your retina directly. 5 to 10 minutes is all it takes. That light travels along the optic nerve straight to the hypothalamus, where it triggers a clean, sharp cortisol pulse, the healthy kind, followed by a controlled decline. It also kickstarts serotonin production, which your brain later converts into melatonin. So the sunlight you get at 8 in the morning is actually building the deep sleep you will experience at 10 at night. The third signal is a caffeine signal, or more accurately, the absence of one. You need to wait at least 90 minutes after waking before you drink coffee. Here is why. While you sleep, your brain accumulates a molecule called adenosine. Adenosine is the biological pressure that makes you feel tired. During sleep, your brain's cleaning system flushes most of it out. But when you first wake up, there is still a residual layer of adenosine that has not been fully cleared. If you drink coffee immediately, the caffeine molecules rush in and block the adenosine receptors. You feel awake, but the adenosine has not actually gone anywhere. It is pooling up behind a chemical dam. A few hours later, when the caffeine metabolizes and the dam breaks, all that accumulated adenosine hits at once. You crash hard. And your body responds to that energy crash the only way it knows how, by pumping out more cortisol. That is the afternoon spike that sends you reaching for sugar and drives fat storage into the evening. When you wait 90 minutes, you give the brain time to finish clearing adenosine on its own. The natural cortisol awakening response completes its arc, and when you finally pour that cup of coffee, it amplifies a system that is already running clean. You get sustained energy instead of a roller coaster. The fourth signal is a movement signal, and it is not what you think. High-intensity training first thing in the morning sounds productive, but if your cortisol is already elevated and you are carrying visceral fat, a punishing workout at dawn can backfire. Intense exercise creates an oxygen deficit that triggers even more cortisol release. Instead, walk. A simple 10 to 15 minute walk outside in the morning is one of the most powerful fat loss tools available to you, and the reason is a phenomenon called optic flow. When you move forward through space, the visual field streams past your eyes. This lateral movement of images has a direct calming effect on the amygdala, the brain's threat detection center. Research shows that optic flow reduces anxiety and lowers cortisol. From an evolutionary standpoint, forward movement meant exploration and safety. Stillness often meant hiding from a predator. When you walk outside in the morning, you stack the light signal on top of the movement signal. You are telling your nervous system on two channels at once that the environment is safe and that it is time to mobilize energy, not store it. The fifth and final signal is a silent signal. For the first 30 minutes of your day, do not open your phone. No email, no social media, no news. The moment you expose a freshly waking brain to notifications and headlines, you flood it with reactive dopamine and cortisol. You are processing other people's problems before you have even oriented yourself. This throws the sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight wiring, into overdrive before you have had a chance to establish any kind of calm baseline. By protecting that first half hour, you allow the parasympathetic system to settle in. You start the day from a position of control rather than reaction. And a brain that begins in a calm, intentional state keeps cortisol significantly lower throughout the rest of the day. So here is your complete morning protocol. Wake up and leave the phone alone. Drink your adrenal reset, water with a pinch of salt. Step outside and get natural sunlight in your eyes for 5 to 10 minutes. Walk for 10 to 15 minutes to activate optic flow and compound the light exposure. Wait a full 90 minutes before your first coffee. That is it. No supplements to buy, no expensive equipment. You are simply aligning your hydration, your circadian rhythm, your adenosine clearance, and your nervous system into one coherent signal of safety. When the body feels safe, it stops clinging to emergency reserves. Cortisol drops, LPL activity decreases, and the visceral fat that has been locked away finally becomes accessible fuel. Most people spend their mornings at war with their own biology, forcing alertness through screens and stimulants, and then wondering why the belly fat will not budge. When you stop forcing and start cooperating with the system, fat loss becomes a downstream effect of hormonal balance. Fix the morning, lower the cortisol, let the body do what it already knows how to do. If this changed the way you think about your morning routine, subscribe to the channel. We break down the science of fat loss, fasting, and metabolic health every single week. I will see you in the next one.